This year, we are working on an informative writing piece. They are writing about extraordinary people who lived ordinary lives, and we went through the process of looking at research and taking notes inside Scholar and creating different versions so they could see their work as it went on. We also produced a rough draft, and then we did some peer editing inside of Scholar. Based on their reviews, they created a final draft that is now being published.
We were writing an informative text, and I chose to write mine about Jackie Robinson. And it was pretty much about how extraordinary people had extraordinary lives in history. Well, I wrote about his early life and his life after baseball and his life during baseball and how he had to overcome hurdles to be the person he was.
I wrote about the Constitutional Convention, and I named it the day of changed history forever. In the first paragraph I wrote about his early life, and later I wrote about how he was going to create the Constitutional Convention and how the technology wasn't very good, so he was writing it with paper, pencil.
It was a historical narrative. Every 8th grader writes it, and basically what we had to do is we had to choose an event in history. And what I chose is, if I can get it up, is 9/11, the first responders. Right. And I chose to be a firefighter that wakes up in the morning, normal morning, and just everything happens and like that.
I wrote about Jackie Robinson, but I know some of my other friends did Michael Jordan and Bill Gates.
The topic was ordinary people living extraordinary lives, and I chose Bill Gates. We created different drafts to help organize our writing.
Students started off by setting up the structure of their writing. Each different element of the writing piece is set up in Scholar, so their introduction and their conclusion, and then each of the major components that they want to hit is structured out in Scholar so that they then take notes in the structure and then they write their paragraph based on the notes and evidence that they've documented in the structure. It really organizes their thinking. It forces them to approach it in a very logical sense, logical way to go about writing. They start to see how writing isn't some abstract concept, it is purposeful.
Well, it was pretty much broken up into the structures tab, and there was little tabs about how we could put the little headings in there, and then we would type up about that under each heading.
We created different drafts to help organize our writing. And the first one, we just took our notes on main points to help form our paragraphs, and then we would turn that into paragraphs, like the actual writing. And then as we go along, we would make changes and stuff to help form our final draft, so it really helped organize our information.
We wrote notes, I think in one of them, we wrote notes. And basically we took those notes with keywords and turned them into actual sentences. And you formed your paragraphs. And you add pictures and just look at a bunch of different websites that you would put at the bottom, your references.
The creator space is different from using paper pencil because it gives them a place where they can begin to share their ideas to start. They can do some research and they can start a structure. They can look at what are my headings going to be for my writing. And then from there, they can continue their work, their research, and create a version that has headings and bullet points. And then they can turn that into another version that is more of a paragraph form, so then they can see their progress.
So what happened is I took notes on those certain events, right, on that event, and then I put it into the structures. So so I took the times that things have happened, and I just used those as different sections of the story. Right. And so basically, when I had my rough draft done, it was sent out, and then I actually got really good feedback.
Yeah, they helped me organize my thinking by so you could focus on one main point instead of being kind of overwhelmed with a bunch of information at the same time.
It helped give our headings for each topic, so we wouldn't be dealing with all of our information at once. We could deal with just his early life maybe, and just type it up there instead of all at once.
Once I introduced them into Scholar, they saw that it was a program that they could do all sorts of things with. We're talking in community, we're creating these works that they can put multimodal elements into, like images and links and the things that they like to actually look at when they're reading something. In Creator, we use a structure tool, and they know exactly what to do. Inside the community, we post things from the bookstore, so it's very clear, and we walk them through the different steps of creating a paper. I think that they can see their progress. So when the students use their versions, they can see I'm moving from my notes to a rough draft, I get my feedback, and then I finally have a final draft that I can be proud of. And I think the more confident they get with Scholar, the more their writing improves as well.
I think it's very helpful for them. It's helpful for me. We're coming out of the age of ISAT writing, where it was cookie cutter, and as a social studies teacher, that I was afraid almost to teach writing in my social studies my core assessment or core classroom. Because we were told so often by language arts teachers that you're teaching them the wrong format, and so we kind of got away from teaching writing in the core subjects. Now with Common Core, the emphasis has gone the other way. It's not cookie cutter, it is purposeful, it's supporting evidence, and so it's good for me to help me understand as a teacher that this is a new thing, and the kids understand there's a reason behind what they're writing.